Have you ever stopped to think about what it takes to build a smile? Literally, from scratch. It's this amazing mix. Part old school, hands-on artistry, and part super high-tech science. So let's dive in and see exactly how it's done.
At the end of the day, it's all about one thing, right? Restoring that comfortable, functional, and confident smile. But man, getting there is a whole other story. It's an incredibly complex puzzle, especially when you're starting from zero. I mean, how do you get that perfect fit? How do you make sure the bite feels completely natural?
So yeah, that's the big question we're tackling. How do you actually pull it off? How do you build a functional, beautiful smile from the ground up? Let's break it down.
To really get into it, we're going to look at two completely different philosophies for solving this problem. You've got the classic, handcrafted method, and then you've got the modern, fully digital workflow.
So on one side, you have the handcrafted method. This is the time-tested way, all about physical molds, plaster casts, and just pure, skilled artistry. It's a real craft. Then, on the other side, you've got the digital method. And this is a total game changer, relying on 3D scanners, incredibly powerful software, and super precise manufacturing.
All right, let's start with the classic approach. This is where that whole art and science idea really comes to life. It demands an incredible amount of skill and a super sharp eye for physical detail every single step of the way.
So the journey starts with taking a physical impression to create a plaster model of the patient's mouth. Then, wax rims are shaped by hand to capture the exact bite. These models get mounted on this cool mechanical device called an articulator. It basically mimics how a real jaw moves. From there, a whole version of the denture is made out of wax so the patient can actually try it in. And only when every little adjustment is approved is the final product made from a durable acrylic. It's a very tactile, very step-by-step process.
Okay, now let's completely shift gears and see how technology has turned this whole workflow on its head. When you're designing a digital denture, you're not thinking about plaster and wax so much as you're thinking about data, algorithms, and some seriously powerful virtual tools.
It all kicks off with a digital scan of the patient's mouth, creating this incredibly precise 3D model. The first critical step is using software to analyze that model and establish the foundation. Things like the occlusal plane, which is that all-important surface where the top and bottom teeth are going to meet.
Next, the software gets really smart. It actually suggests an ideal placement for the teeth based on anatomical landmarks. And get this, the designer can use a feature called chain mode to move the entire arch of teeth as one single unit. This makes fine-tuning the look and function just so much more efficient than adjusting one tooth at a time.
And this is where the digital artistry really comes into play. Using virtual sculpting tools, kind of like a digital wax knife, the technician can freeform the gum line, adding realistic textures and natural contours. It's pretty much the digital version of hand sculpting wax. And once every last detail is perfected, the final design is complete. That digital file is now the blueprint, ready to be sent to a 3D printer or a milling machine to be manufactured with just pinpoint accuracy.
So we've seen the two workflows, but how do they actually stack up when you're trying to solve the really fundamental problems that every denture has to overcome? Let's put them head to head.
This comparison really gets to the heart of it. For getting a perfect fit, the handcrafted method relies completely on those physical impression techniques. The digital workflow, it uses software to analyze all the undercuts for a super precise seal. For a balanced bite, one uses a physical articulator, while the other uses a virtual one that can actually simulate real jaw movements. And for aesthetics, the digital approach lets you do soft tissue simulation, so you can preview the smile before anything is ever made. That's a huge deal.
Let's focus on this one critical concept for a second, the occlusal plane. The easiest way to picture it is as an invisible tabletop where your top and bottom teeth meet. Now, if that plane is tilted or uneven at all, it throws everything off. It can cause instability, discomfort, and problems with chewing. So, establishing this plane correctly is absolutely foundational to success, no matter which method you're using.
And this digital foundation isn't just about recreating the old process on a computer. It's about unlocking brand new possibilities and solving really specific patient problems that were once incredibly difficult to manage with the old methods alone.
This is where it gets truly futuristic. For really complex cases, designers can now merge those digital mouth scans with medical CT scans. This lets them see the patient's actual bone structure and correct for issues like a clinical cant, which is basically just a natural tilt in the jaw. They can even use jaw motion tracking to perfectly set what's called the vertical dimension of occlusion, or VDO. Getting that height between the jaws just right is absolutely critical for a comfortable bite and a natural facial profile.
So whether it's crafted by hand with plaster and wax or designed in a virtual world with CT scan data, the ultimate goal is exactly the same. It's always been about creating a restoration that's functional, comfortable, and beautiful, one that gives someone back their smile.
From the craftsman's bench to the designer's screen, the journey of creating a smile shows an incredible evolution. It's this powerful fusion of high-tech data and timeless human artistry. And it really makes you wonder, as that fusion becomes even more seamless, what's the next frontier for this kind of personalized medicine?